And blessed on the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Phone numbers 580-5436, 580-KIDO. As we move along here this morning, a lot going on. As you heard, there were a number of Democrats that were in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, shouting and chanting and saying they're going to get President Trump and everything else, talking about the impeachment and all these crazy things. Now, many of you, thankfully, have what we call a life. You spent yesterday hanging out, doing your own thing. I had a chance to watch it. Why? Well, we call that work here in the business. And what did I see about Trump is bad, we're going to be good, we need to be crazy, radical liberals, as we always are, again and again and again. And I'm thinking to myself, is there anything good coming of this? Kamala Harris, Mayor Pete, Bernie Sanders. Bernie's mad because people aren't liberal enough. It's just crazy. Let's start off with Kamala Harris from Des Moines, Iowa.
We got a president of the United States who made a whole lot of promises and betrayed the American people. What did we get? A lot of broken promises. So we need to prosecute the case. And Iowa, I'm going to tell you, there's a rap sheet full of evidence to make the case.
No, it's funny when you hear Kamala Harris. She's obviously, those of you that remember her from California, I guess a very gifted young lady, a senator, but she seems to struggle with being out in public. She has that angst. She has that nervousness. And if you're nervous on the campaign trail, if you can't exude confidence, how in the world can you sit back and get people to believe in you, right? So you had Kamala Harris, you had other people going, just blankety blank crazy on this. Well, the president has not broken his promises. In fact, panned over the weekend, but reported by conservative folks across the country, the president of the United States held Mexico's feet to the fire and won.
I'm running for president because we can't take 4 more years of Donald Trump.
Now, hold on. Let me apologize. I know this is very, very early to get the crazy, wacky, zany libs going, but let's face it, it is kind of tough to wake up on a Monday morning.
I'm running for
How about wake up to Cory Booker, everybody? Hello, Cory Booker.
president to beat Donald Trump. And I'm running for president because beating Donald Trump is not enough. We must have bigger aspirations and bolder dreams than just that.
Can we say hope and change, all sorts of things. So there's Cory Booker trying so hard to appear relevant. By the way, here she is. She's a diva. She's a lady. She's Elizabeth Warren.
I've got a practical plan to protect the rights guaranteed to women under Roe versus Wade, regardless of what the United States Supreme Court does.
Now, we're going to have to get back to her. Here you have Senator Elizabeth Warren saying she's going to do what we don't care what the law is. She'll do whatever. By the way, you're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. And then we have one of the lesser-known Democrats, and I believe he's a congressman. Maybe they identified him as a state senator, Eric Swalwell. And in watching this thing, you only have 2 minutes. And if you go past 2 minutes, then all of a sudden they start playing the music. But here is Representative Swalwell.
I will only appoint judges that uphold the...
By the way, are they screaming into the mic? Couldn't they get somebody that could figure out how to play the audio, rightly?
Roe decision, but let's not aim so low only to protect Roe. Let's repeal the discriminatory Hyde Amendment.
I almost thought he was going to slip and say, "Let's repeal Roe." My goodness gracious! Coming up, we'll take a look at the box office here at KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget, we have the Boise Music Festival coming up very, very soon. We would love for you to attend. Coming up this week, we'll give you a chance to win. And speaking of winning, a lot of people are wondering about the jobs. A less than stellar jobs report coming up. We only added 75,000 new jobs, as opposed to the hundreds of thousands we've added over President Trump's administration. Of course, remember when President Obama was president, those figures were far the opposite of what President Trump has given us. Joining us now, Elaine Parker, COO of the Job Creators Network, with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Elaine, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you?
Not bad. Just trying to make sense of everything. When we're looking at the jobs report, you have the negative Nellies in the media saying, oh, this is not a good sign for the economy. You're on the front line when it comes to jobs. What say you?
Look, the jobs numbers were certainly lower than expectations, but I wouldn't let 1 month make a trend for anybody, because when you look at the last 2 years, we've seen almost 6 million jobs created since the 2016 election. We've got unemployment at a 50-year low. We had first quarter GDP results blow away all expectations. So for the negative Nellies out there, as you call them, it's a waste of time, because right now we still have an economy that is hot, and we still created jobs this month. And that's an important factor to consider.
Well, we take a look at what goes into creating jobs. People have said, look, Elaine, it's great, but the wages aren't where they should be. What's your response?
Look, wages are growing faster than they have in a decade. And the reality is there are more than 2 million jobs available, almost 2 million jobs available, more than people available. There's only about 5.8 million people available to fill those jobs. And so you got to look down at the numbers and say, we've got more than almost 2 million jobs available, less than that to fill the jobs. Is it a function of we have a skills mismatch out there and that we can't find the qualified people to fill those jobs? You know, we know that there just aren't enough qualified people in construction to fill the jobs that are out there. So we've got to take a look at that. You know, we know everybody isn't meant to go to college, and there's a lot of need in the skills trades for people to go and get those skills. And those jobs are going to be very high paying because they're very sought after as far as the skills. And the wages just keep increasing. We're actually seeing wages increase at a faster rate for blue collar jobs than white collar jobs. That's all good news for middle class.
When we take a look at where we are as far as regions of the country, is there any region hotter than the other?
You know, regions, I think you have to just look at, it's probably better to look at where you have lower taxes and where money is treated better. So when you look at states where you have low taxes, you see it follow in suit with very low unemployment and very good economies. Where you see states that have very high taxes, be it California, New York, Illinois, you see companies leaving, people leaving in record amounts to come south. I live in Florida. We have people moving to Florida in record amounts. We have plus population going on here.
Indeed. Elaine, finally, when we look at what could derail this, what could derail this? Would it be the devious little libs or what?
I mean, look, the reality is this administration has taken on the three big issues and gotten this economy going. And that was lowering taxes with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act and getting this economy going, small businesses hiring like crazy. The deregulation, the least told story out there. I mean, it has just unleashed this economy and even rolled back parts of the Dodd-Frank, which has allowed the ability for small business to get access to capital, which has been one of the biggest things that has hurt small business, is the going away and the going out of business of small community banks who do all that lending. Every single person that we hear running on the other side right now is running on a platform that is going to undo all of that. There's no chance of seeing the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act being made permanent for the middle class at this point. And in fact, we keep hearing that they're going to raise taxes and reverse that. Why would you reverse what's been so positive for America? We hear about more regulation. We hear about Medicare for all. We hear about not reforming the healthcare system, but making it worse, taking away choices. Taking away choices is what increased costs. We never addressed that when Obamacare was passed. All of these things are going to reverse the positives that we've seen in the last 2 years.
Well, Elaine, we appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right, Elaine Parker joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Waking up on the right side. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. How about the president getting the Mexican government to say, okay, we're going to stop the illegals? A truly day to celebrate.
There's been a dramatic mood change here in Tijuana over the past 48 hours. Once this country was thinking about a potential economic collapse or catastrophe if those tariffs went through. Now with the agreement on tariffs, Mexican President Lopez Obrador is praising the Mexican negotiators. He also says it's absolutely paramount to maintain close relations with the United States.
And with analysis and reaction, boy, a lot going on here in the first 15 minutes of the program. By the way, if you're just tuning in, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Kevin Miller in the morning. We are rolling right along. Let's go to Liberal Steve. Liberal Steve, good morning.
Good morning, all you crazy little Republicans. Your beaks can hold more than your belly can. Boy, did the Prez blow it with his Mexican negotiation. I had the perfect opportunity to have Mexico pay for the wall, and I forgot about that and never even asked him. I could have had him pay for the wall and then drop the tariffs, but no, I didn't even negotiate any deals that haven't already been negotiated. Golly, what a fool. He could have finally, the 37 times in his campaign, he said, we're going to build a wall, and Mexico's going to pay for it. We're going to build a wall, Mexico will pay. He could have had the opportunity for them to say, okay, we'll cut the check. Oh, I tell you, that guy is such a fool. Such a fool. Oh, Kim, I predict Kim will probably shoot off before June is out another 6
You ever notice that you seem to be cheering openly against the President of the United States? Why is that?
Absolutely.
So you want him not to be successful?
Absolutely. Because that means evil would win.
Him not being successful, you're right, would mean evil would win.
Yeah. Him not being successful.
By the way, who are you picking in the year 2020 for the presidential candidates?
The person I'm picking probably hasn't even ran yet. I don't play this early game thing with old man Biden, and I think Cortez should step up. I really do.
She's too young. Can't do it.
Yeah, but she is too young. I'm sorry.
Not qualified. Sorry.
I didn't know that. How old do you got to be? 40?
37, I believe. 35, 37, something like that.
So I have an opportunity.
Who?
Me.
You do. You're in the perfect age. You're younger than Joe Biden.
67 years old. I could bring America back to America.
You're in your prime.
We could be positive and in love with the world. Period. Yeah,
could be something
really
like
good.
that. Yeah.
The guy has no idea what he's doing. And, Rocket Man is dancing all over, and Putin is just doing what he wants.
The president has brought the Mexican government to agreement. It is a great day for America. Great day for all of us.
It's a great day when we let the Saudis build missiles. Let's let the Saudis build our smart missiles for us. The people that caused 9/11. Right?
Anything
you agree
else?
That they caused 9/11?
I agree with the report after 9/11.
Yeah, that the Arabs were the ones that did it, and Bin Laden was from the Saudi.
I believe Bin Laden was a Saudi, yes.
Oh, and it's okay to butcher that American citizen?
He was not an American citizen.
Oh, well, it was okay to butcher him anyway and put him in a suitcase?
He was a Saudi citizen. He wasn't an American citizen.
And we know the Saudis did it. Does it matter? Does it really matter what citizen it was?
I think we started talking about the border.
No, we're past the border. That's history. He blew it. He had his chance to get a check.
Fair enough.
And
anything else?
Not even working. No, that's just it.
I think you've covered a lot.
Yeah, the Saudis. Let's let them make missiles, and now that they're killing all the Yemen people, it's just crazy. It'll be so nice when we get a really, really good Democrat in there for the next 20 years. You stay fired up, Idaho, and remember, you little Republicans, your beak is bigger than your bellykin.
All right, your reaction next. We're waking up on the right side. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. And coming up, we'll take a look at the high cost of gasoline. A look at the weekend box office as we're rolling on the right side. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. But getting back to this Mexican trade deal, the president getting the Mexican government to release, to release their restrictions on the immigrants coming in. In other words, they're sending troops to Guatemala. They're sending troops throughout the area. The Mexicans will give the immigrants jobs. If they're seeking asylum in America, they're going to stay in Mexico. You have the New York Times saying, not so fast, President Trump. You, in fact, had this deal for quite some time. The Democrats are blasting the president for forcing Mexico to deal with the illegal immigrants. In fact, according to the Washington Times, Democrats lashed out in all directions at President Trump after he won a concession, major concessions, from Mexico to try to stop the flow of illegal immigrants at the border. With reaction, Max in Garden City. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin Miller. I'd like to thank you for airing our resident crackpot, Liberal Steve. What a moron. Well, anyway, whatever he's smoking, thank you for getting him off the air. This deal by the president is a master stroke. He's starting to use the political capital that this country has gained in his administration. If Obama had proposed the exact same thing, Mexico would have fudged, hemmed, hawed, and worked around it. But we know that Donald Trump means business. They know it. World leaders have come to understand that President Trump walks the talk. When he says 5%, baby, it's going to be 5%. We needed a president with this credibility. I agree with Steve in that I'm a little disappointed in the way we're handling immigration. I'm a little disappointed in the fact that we still have thousands of illegal aliens invading our country every day. But I also know that our president's doing just about all anybody can in the face of traitors in the Republican Party and the Democrats who are an enemy at large. Am I overstating it?
No, not at all. And what people don't seem to understand is the president got them to cut the flow of the illegals. This is a major deal. Now you have the New York Times saying, well, they agreed to it for quite some time. We couldn't wait. This had to be done now.
It's a fact. Immediate action is necessary. And the beginning is Mexico. Because if you look at the Guatemalan and Honduran aliens, when they come storming into our country, from what I've read, they are outnumbering the Mexicans. So we can make a significant cut if the Mexican army will just give us a little hand up. We need their help.
No, I totally agree with you on that. And it's about time the good guys won. Max, anything else?
Oh, I guess I just wanted to mention that Liberal Steve is what I call a soundbite headline person. He doesn't read anything in depth. I don't know if he's capable, but he doesn't read and he doesn't listen in depth. He'll grab a few sound bites. He'll read a few headlines. And like so many liberal winocrat, snowflakes, scum-faced Democrats, he'll say, I read all about it. I researched it. No, you didn't. You spent 2 minutes looking into it. You whiny, thin-skinned, sad, sorry little man. There. I feel better. Kevin, thank you for letting me rant.
All right. Ranting always welcome. Max in Garden City. Kevin Miller in the morning. KIDO Talk Radio, 628, traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller. Let's take a quick look at the weekend box office. Those of you that had a chance to go to the movies, a big weekend as well. Let's get the details.
The top spot went to the animated The Secret Life of Pets 2, which grossed $47 million.
Max, you're never going to believe it. We're going on a trip.
Really?
I love the car.
It's the best.
It features the voices of Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish, and Harrison Ford in his first animated role. Number 2, the current film of X-Men movies. Studios estimate that Dark Phoenix earned a low of $33 million.
Tell me how we fix this, Charles. Tell me what to do. I don't know what to do.
The cast includes Sophie Turner of Game of Thrones, James McAvoy, Michael Fassbender, and Jennifer Lawrence. Debbie Hanley, Fox News.
Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Doug. Blessed to be with you, Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio, just a couple weeks away from the Boise Music Festival. If you're around town, join us from 2 to 4 this Wednesday at Computer Central. We'll be there, the Boise Tech Mall, hanging out with our friend Phil, giving away Boise Music Festival tickets. Looking forward to that. It's kind of a Dave Ramsey, Sean Hannity thing. I almost said Jared Halpern because I was reading the run sheet, but he's no Jared Halpern. He's Jeff Manasso, Fox News Radio on KIDO Talk Radio. Jeff, good morning.
Hey, good Monday morning to you, Kevin.
Always wondering what the latest is when it comes to automotive news. What's happening?
Well, so Ford is helping save the planet. It's increasing its use of recycled plastic bottles for vehicle parts. So if you've ever wondered, what happens to all those bottles that we use, where they end up, and one answer is Ford vehicles. So if you used recycled bottles, water bottles, soda bottles, ketchup bottles, many of them are turned into new fibers that Ford converts into shields, underbody shields for vehicle wheel liners for its vehicles. And Ford says it's now averaging about 300 recycled bottles per vehicle. That's about 1.2 billion recycled plastic bottles per year, according to the company. The benefits, one is it makes the vehicle quieter, says Ford. It improves fuel economy because the vehicles are lighter. Ford even says that the material is really durable, or just as durable as any other product that it used before for these types of parts, and also helping out the environment. Ford Europe was the first to use recycled plastic on the exterior of vehicles probably about 15, 20 years ago. And today, most cars, vans, and trucks across the brands use recycled plastic primarily for parts, including rear wheel liners on vehicles. So when you look at your car, some of it's made out of recycled plastic.
Boy, tough to believe that, the idea of steel and, steel being replaced by aluminum and plastic these days. But as you've said, the plastic is pretty tough.
Yeah, well, it's not only plastic, but it's also aluminum, as you mentioned. Ford using aluminum on the F-150, and it's really strong and really durable stuff, and obviously makes it lightweight and more fuel efficient, which obviously helps consumers' pocketbooks in the long run in terms of fuel economy as well.
With the idea of gas prices going up, maybe it's time to embrace the hybrids or bring back the Prius before they get rid of it.
Well, that's a personal choice, and you have to really look at whether or not the juice is worth the squeeze, because you're going to end up paying more up front for that electric or that hybrid versus a gas combustion engine type vehicle. But then if you drive it for 10 years, then you'll get your money back, and that's just the something you have to weigh when looking at these types of vehicles. But it's pretty cool for those of us who have these types of vehicles. When you gas up, or even if you have to gas up, and if you have a hybrid, you're getting, 40, 50, 60 miles per gallon, which is pretty awesome. If you've got electric, all you do is plug it in, and you're good to go.
Right. Jeff, finally, when you talk to these automobile makers, are they continuing to drift away from the internal combustible engine?
Seems to be where we're going. We've had this conversation multiple times, and it's where the investment is. All the big automakers investing billions of dollars in an electric future, let alone a self-driving electric future. So it seems to be where we're going. But many of us still like our combustion engine vehicles, and I think those will be around for a while as well.
Jeff Manasso, always appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
You bet.
This just in, if you haven't heard this over the weekend, another day, another food recall. This time, Tyson Foods has recalled over 190,000 pounds of their chicken fritters. That's chicken fritters, after consumers have claimed to have found pieces of hard plastic in the chicken. The chicken was produced February 28th, wasn't sold retail, but rather to restaurants and schools. If you think you may have been affected by a bad fritter, the USDA says you should check with your doctor. You can also check the info out at the recalled fritters to find out if any business in your area sold the chicken by going to the USDA website. Now, which begs the question, have you ever found something weird in your school or restaurant food? And another strange story that we'll just share with you before we get to another call topic. By the way, you're listening to Kevin Miller in the Morning, KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. How many of us are getting ready for traveling abroad, traveling wherever? Maybe you're tired of the drive to Reno or Portland or Seattle. Many of the TV folks over the weekend had an opportunity to go to the Emmys. And you know the Emmys, it's like the award show for the best in TV. I'm sure we're going to see tons of promos about how wonderful the TV people were. Many of them flew to Seattle. Maybe they drove. But if you're flying, this is something to consider. A woman from Las Vegas is suing the TSA for violating her rights after she and her lawyer say she was strip searched at an Oklahoma airport on Mother's Day. Well, happy Mother's Day to you, ma'am. The woman allegedly set off the metal detector at the Tulsa airport. She explained to the TSA agents that she had a hip implant and agreed for the pat down. Hey now, okay, so here is the pat down. You have a hip implant. I don't know if you have a special card or what, but apparently, you know, you get the pat down and you roll, right? So here's what happened. Here's what happened afterward. During the pat down, an agent found a common feminine hygiene product. Her lawyer says she then forced the woman to go into the bathroom and expose herself and remove the product. The TSA won't comment due to the ongoing litigation, but said the agency doesn't conduct strip searches. So it begs the question, I mean, if you want to go somewhere, would you agree to be strip searched by the TSA? And to be a TSA agent, I believe you have to have a lot of tolerance for a lot of things. Yes, we always talk about strip searching people, but there are very few Brad Pitts and many more Kevin Millers in the country. All right, back to some serious news that we would love to get your thoughts on, and those stories as well. If you have any thoughts on the chicken fritters or the TSA, whether they're too touchy-feely, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Senate Democrats are holding on to hope that some presidential candidates who fail to catch fire could ultimately drop out and make runs for the Senate. You know, this is from The Hill via the Washington Times. Lawmakers can be hesitant to directly call out people, but look, we all know who they are. Beto O'Rourke in Texas, Montana Governor Steve Bullock, and former Governor of Colorado John Hickenlooper are several candidates polling in the low single digits who have been mentioned as possible U.S. Senate candidates next year. Quote, the clock is running out for people who have not demonstrated any ability to mount a serious presidential bid, according to Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island. He's a lib. John Tester of Montana endorsed Bullock for president. He's heard his colleagues who want the governor to change his mind and run for Senate. He's saying it's Bullock's call. Well, you're right. It is Bullock's call. Finally, as we move along before we get to Sean Hannity, gas prices down 9 cents over the past 3 weeks. The average price of a gallon of regular gas is now $2.84, except in the Treasure Valley. With details, Trilby Lundberg of the Lundberg Report.
The high in the panel of cities was San Francisco, 394. The low was Baton Rouge at 227. Within those two extremes, Atlanta is 274, Philadelphia 297, and Honolulu is 356.
You know, we just had a contentious gubernatorial race, right? It was big. It was bad. I personally think that anyone, see if you agree with me on this, anyone running for governor, if they said, I'm going to make sure that the first priority of my administration after repealing the repressive grocery tax is to come up with a committee to find a way to lower Idaho's gasoline prices. That's what I would do. And I'm sure you would do that as well. Whether you're working landscaping, whether you're working the carpet cleaning, whether you're working real estate, like my friend Garrett and others in the real estate business. How many times do you go to the pump and it's just painful? We live in a great state. That doesn't mean that we should just sit back and just say, well, it's always been that way. How did that work out for the state of California? How has that worked out for other states that just sat on their hands? Now, why don't our government officials do something about it? Just once, I'd love for them to come up with something innovative.
Gasoline prices are dropping, and they're dropping faster in these days than they had been. The price is $2.84 nationally for regular. It dropped 9 cents over 3 weeks and a total of 13 cents over 5 weeks when it peaked early May. And we probably will see some more price cutting very soon.
Well, that would be nice, Trilby. That would be nice. At 580-5436, 580-KIDO. And by the way, how many people were you trapped in that great debacle Friday afternoon, right? That great debacle Friday afternoon when it appeared that the connector, 84, whatever road you want to call it, just died because of the truck hauling sand tipped over. Sean in Boise with Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Sean.
Yes. Hi, Kevin. Hey, you mentioned one of the strangest things that people have found in their school lunch food or whatever.
Yeah.
My wife found a horrible tooth, a whole entire tooth with the whole thing extracted from the jaw in her burrito.
Ooh.
So, I mean, if we're talking about either dog or human, the person that she turned the burrito back into did not know what kind of tooth it was. So I'm just saying, it's just absolutely disgusting. So you really got to be careful with, what you're pulling out of your food and what you're putting into your body.
Well, what happened? Did she just turn them in?
Yeah,
Did they apologize? What happened?
Yeah, they apologized and paid for her meal, but she bit into this meat burrito, and it's about, wow, this big, huge, she bit into this thing. So anyway, she pulled that out of her mouth and put it on her plate, and she's like, oh my God, it's a tooth. And so the manager came over, took a look at everything, and said, ma'am, I don't know what to say. I don't know. I'm really sorry. We'll pay for your meal. But yeah, this is several years ago, but still, I'm just, wow.
Yeah. That's the
Very
scary part,
interesting.
why you should always wash your lettuce and all the sorts of things.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I found spiders in my salad too before, and things like that in a restaurant. But yeah, you just got to be careful.
Sean, thank you for listening. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you. Boy, how about that? His wife found a tooth in a burrito, a big tooth, and spiders in your salad. Let's talk a little bit about food safety next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Coming up, the Democrats have impeachment on their mind, but what about governing? A cynical way to start off your Monday. Kevin Miller in the morning. We need some light. We need some beauty. We need Liberty. Linda, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning, Kevin. I have a multiple question for you this morning. Cortez and Liberal Steve would make a number one nice couple. Number two.
What would be wouldn't that be like a May-December couple where you'd have older Liberal Steve and younger AOC?
Yeah. Well, at number three, an insane couple. So multiple choice for that. Anyway, I think they would go together.
I don't know about that, boy. I don't know if AOC would be down with Liberal Steve, but what do I know?
That's a multiple question for all of your callers and listeners this morning.
Sure.
And anyway, I think President Trump, being that he is such a great businessman, look at the wonderful things he's done for our country. Now, I think deal he made with Mexico is great. It's called common sense, is what it's called.
Well, look, if the Mexicans want to sell things here, they've got to play by the rules. They can't be a sieve to let everybody from all these other countries come in here, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, they have to stop them. They're traveling too. It seemed like they were helping them.
And of course, you can't sit there and say you're our friends when you're trying to rip us off. The president holding them accountable. Yet, here's the other one, Liberty Linda. They won't give him credit for it, will they?
Oh, no. They don't give him credit for anything. Look at how wonderful our country is running now.
Sure.
The people in our country. And that's what he cares about. That the average person in our country, and that's what's so wonderful about him. You know, he doesn't have to go for the money. He already has that.
Sure.
You know, there's no reason to be president, really, because he's, you know, a billionaire. But, wow, look how much he works for our country. I just think it's absolutely marvelous. What a lovely couple they made. I was so proud of them over in Britain. Anyway, I hope that, you know, some of your other callers will call in and tell what they think about President Trump. What a great president he is.
Liberty Linda, thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, every morning.
Every morning.
Every morning.
Every morning.
Yay.
Thank you, Liberty Linda. You have a great day.
Okay, you as well. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. KIDO Talk Radio time, 6:56, traffic and weather together. Let's get you to work safely and on time. Good morning, Dave. And I'm Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget our great friend Dave Petzo will be joining us. A couple of our top stories. Democrats, even though the Iowa caucuses are, 8, 9, 10 months away, something like that, they're already telling Beto, Hickenlooper, and that guy in Montana it's time for them to go because they should be running for Senate because they have no realistic chance whatsoever of winning the White House. Well, Bernie Sanders is still around. We'll see what happens there. And a good news story, Darius Rucker. You remember Darius Rucker back in the day, Hootie and the Blowfish? Well, he had a concert, and he and the people that went to the concert apparently raised more than $2 million for St. Jude's Children's Hospital in Memphis. Boy, can we have more good stories about that when we're not talking about people taking, but people actually giving. What a tribute to Darius Rucker, helping out the folks in St. Jude. By the way, remember, we have our own children's hospital, the only children's hospital in the state of Idaho, right down the road from us, St. Luke's Children's Hospital. And coming up, KIDO Talk Radio and Town Square Media will be doing some things to raise awareness and hopefully raise some money to help out the folks at St. Jude's. You know, as we know, and you don't have to hear this from me, children are the greatest blessing that God can give us. The ability to give birth, the ability to see ourselves, the ability to make a difference. Let's make sure we help those kids and folks at the Ronald McDonald House. But again, props to Darius Rucker. Coming up next, Fox News, then it's Miller and Petzo about your money. You don't want to miss that. Good morning.